Greeks had 4 words for love that describe different kinds of love. We have 1 word, they had 4. One was a word called storge, which carries with it the idea of affection. And I'm going to limit that. It covers many areas, but I'm going to limit it tonight to just family love, because storge involves the family. And I want to ask you young people tonight, what is your relationship to your parents? Is there communication between you and your parents? Now, the Bible teaches that young people and children and young adults in the home are to obey the parents in the Lord. And even when you get older, you don't have to obey your parents after you have gone away from home and you're 21 or 22. If you don't have to obey them and everything, but you're always, as long as you live, you're to honor your parents. You're to honor your parents even when you're up in years. And then when they get old, you're to take care of your parents. You don't hand them over to the state and get rid of them. You know, we have everything turned around in America from the rest of the world. If you go out to China, you go to Japan and places like that, they honor old age. They look forward to the day when they can take care of their elderly parents. We try to get rid of them. It's a part of our selfishness. It's a part of one of our sins. We are to love our parents. We are to obey our parents. We are to honor our parents. And in time, we're to take care of them.
The 5th commandment: honor your father and your mother, so that your days may be long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Exodus 20:12. Imagine Jesus sitting on a hillside, surrounded by people of all ages. He often taught about love, kindness, and respect. In Matthew 15:4, Jesus reminded people that God's commandment to honor their parents was very important. He wanted everyone to know that respecting and loving parents pleases God. This was the 5th commandment God gave to his people through Moses, Exodus 20:12. But what does honor really mean? Let's find out. What does it mean to honor your parents? To honor your parents means to respect them, love them, obey them, and care for them. It's about listening to them, helping them when they need it, and appreciating all they do for you. But it doesn't stop there. Honoring your parents also means finding ways to make them happy, encouraging them, and supporting them in any way you can. Imagine this. Your dad has been working all day, and he looks really tired. What if you brought him a glass of water and said, "Thanks for working so hard for us"? Or imagine your mom needing help with groceries, and you step in to carry the bags. These small acts can bring so much joy to your parents. The promise attached to the commandment. Did you know this commandment comes with a special promise? God says, "So that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you." Exodus 20:12. When you honor your parents, you open the door to blessings in your life, peace, joy, and even a long and fulfilling life. Why is honoring your parents important? 1. God commands us. When we obey God's commands, we honor Him, and He blesses us in return. 2. Parents are a gift from God. They care for you, teach you, and love you. Honoring them shows your gratitude to God for placing them in your life. Ways to honor your parents. 1. Listen and obey. When they guide you or give instructions, follow them with a cheerful heart. 2. Help out. Look for ways to make their lives easier. like cleaning up your toys or helping with chores. 3. Encourage them. Say kind words like, "I love you," or "Thanks for all you do for me." 4. Support them. If your parents need something and you can help, whether it's a gift or a simple favor, step in. Pray for them. Ask God to bless your parents and give them strength. Jesus himself set an example of honoring his earthly parents, Mary and Joseph, and his heavenly Father. Even as he was dying on the cross, Jesus showed care for his mother by asking John to look after her. John 19:26-27. This teaches us that honoring our parents is a lifelong responsibility. A story to remember. Think about Anna. She saw her mom struggling to fix dinner after a busy day. Anna decided to set the table without being asked. Her mom smiled and said, "Thank you, Anna. That really means a lot." Anna felt happy because her small act of kindness brought joy to her mom. What about you? How can you make your parents feel loved today? Maybe it's by helping them with something they're working on or surprising them with a hug. What's one way you can encourage them when they feel tired or stressed? A lesson for all of us. Honoring your parents isn't just about obeying rules. It's about showing love and care in everything you do. When you honor your parents, you are also showing God how much you love Him.
Sa mga kamag-anak mo na inaabutan, binibigyan, tinutulungan, pag dumadating naman yung tumutulong sa inyo, ngumiti naman kayo, maging cheerful naman kayo, hindi binibigyan na nga kayo, daing pa rin at daing, lungkot pa rin at lungkot, siguro para madagdagan ng bigay. Pero ang nangyayari tuloy, nawawala na ng gana yung umuuwi sa inyo dahil wala ng pleasure. Magagastusan na, makakarinig pa ng problema, mga sumbong, mga daing, kaya minsan ayaw na tuloy kayong uwian. Nagtataka yung mga ibang magulang, ang lapit-lapit naman, anak ko, may kotse, ba't kaya hindi madalas dumalaw? Masarap ba kayong dalawin? Siyempre kailangan, kahit anak nyo yun, nasasarapan din naman siyang dumalaw, hindi puro problema, bigat. Kasi minsan sa kanyang office, sa kanyang negosyo, sa kanyang trabaho, sa pamilya niya, sa asawa niya, ang dami na rin niyang problema.
Which carries with it the idea of affection. And I'm going to limit that. It covers many areas, but I'm going to limit it tonight to just family love. Because storge involves the family. And I want to ask you young people tonight, what is your relationship to your parents? Is there communication between you and your parents? Now the Bible teaches that young people and children and young adults in the home are to obey the parents in the Lord. And even when you get older, you don't have to obey your parents after you have gone away from home and you're 21 or 22. You don't have to obey them and everything, but you're always, as long as you live, you're to honor your parents. You're to honor your parents even when you're up in years. And then when they get old, you're to take care of your parents. You don't hand them over to the state and get rid of them.
I've been asked a lot recently, what do I do as a grown child, an adult child of my parents? Because I get it, when I was a kid, fourth commandment, really big deal. And honor thy father and mother. Got it, no problem. But now that I'm an adult, I find myself in two categories. One is, what if my parents says honor my father and mother, honor thy father and mother. What if my parents are actually acting in a dishonorable way? Question number one. And secondly, okay, now as an adult, do I have different obligations? Do I have a different way that I interact with my parents when it comes to that commandment, the fourth commandment, honor thy father and mother? And I think, wow, that's a really great question. I remember as a kid hearing that commandment, the fourth commandment, honor thy father and mother. My teachers would say that means you obey your parents. And of course, being the smart aleck in class, I would say things like, what if my parents asked me to rob a bank or something like this? And they would say, okay, important caveat, we only obey our parents when they're asking us to do good things. We don't have to obey our parents when they're asking us to do something evil. Okay, back to our story. What happens? A, if my parents are dishonorable. B, as an adult child, do my responsibilities change? So great question. First, what if my parents are not acting in an honorable way? What if my parents are actually, they were poor parents, they were bad parents, and they continue to be bad parents. They treat me poorly, they treat my siblings poorly, maybe they treat your spouse poorly, or or their grandchildren, your children poorly, or just even people in general poorly. Maybe their life, they have not been the kind of parent that they should have been. What do I do then? How do I honor them? There's the first kind of respect, and that is given to everybody, and that is the respect that is based off of the dignity of the human person. That fact that they're made in God's image and likeness, it's just theirs. That's the respect that they're given. I can still respect them. That's the respect owed to them as a human being, made in God's image and likeness. Okay, fine. And I can respect the role that they didn't live up to. And I can give honor. What kind of honor? Well, actually, the baseline, it might look like this. It would look like avoiding dishonor. It would mean avoiding treating them the way they treated me. It would mean avoiding gossip. It would mean avoiding detraction. It might mean avoiding all those behaviors that would tear them down. You know, it doesn't mean I necessarily need to build them up, and that might be a call that we have as a Christian, is to love our enemies. And it could very well be that your parents have actually made themselves your enemy because of the way that they've treated you over the course of your life. That is very possible. And even then, right, we're called to love our enemies. Just the very fact that they're our parent adds a complexity to it. It neither disqualifies them, nor does it give them any more claim to our honor, especially if they, as a person, have acted in a dishonorable or even devastating, destructive way. But we can honor the fact that, yep, they've given me the gift of life, even if nothing else. The first part would be, it means avoiding elements of acting in ways of dishonor. But also would look like this. What happens a lot of times is is an abusive relationship. Here's someone who finds themselves as an adult child looking at the parent thinking, my parent or my parents, they live in such a way that it's destructive to themselves. It's abusive to the people around them. And in that case, what would love look like? And the answer, in so many ways, is love would not enable them to do this. And so it doesn't always mean saying yes. It doesn't mean obeying. In fact, the Catechism goes on to say that when the adult child, this is the kind of the second half of the question, when the adult child becomes emancipated, essentially, when you're independent of your parents, then you no longer need to obey your parents. When you become emancipated from your parents, essentially, you no longer need to obey your parents, but you must always respect them. Again, respecting them, human dignity, respecting their role, and if they're honorable, respecting their character. But you no longer need to obey them. So you can actually say no. You can actually even say no to things that they're asking for that are very important, but aren't good for them. For example, any kind of enabling behavior could be important, but it would not be good for them. For example, maybe a more specific example. I know of cases where there have been people who have said, hey, my dad is calling because he needs money for rent, or he's going to get kicked out of his apartment. But I know that he spends all of his money on alcohol and drugs, and I have constantly tried to get him into rehab or get him into some kind of place where he could get back on his feet, and he refuses. What do I do? If I don't give him this money, he might be out on the streets. That could be it. Now, I'm not saying this is the automatic answer, but that could be a situation where you